And look at that right there. I've got a cracked rotor. Hey, welcome back to Epic Cars, and today we're going to do some brake work on Project Old Bones. Get back to it. I haven't been doing any projects on her for quite some time now, and so we're going to be upgrading the front brakes. I've got new rotors, new calipers, and new pads that I'll be installing. I've noticed over the last 2 or 3 months that I've been driving her, when I put on the brakes, she pulls really hard to the passenger side, and then when I let off the brakes and continue driving down the road, it's pulling really hard to the driver's side, to the left. And then once I get out, short trip, something like that, I've noticed that the wheel is very, very hot. And so what I think is happening is that caliper on the driver's side is not releasing all the way. And then it's just messed up in general, because when I put the brakes on, there's not enough power applied on the driver's side, so it pulls me to the passenger side. And then when I let off of the brake, the caliper itself is not releasing, those pistons are not releasing, and it's sitting there dragging on that rotor. So I imagine that rotor is going to be pretty screwed up once I take the wheel off. So I just went ahead and got new performance rotors. I got slotted and drilled rotors. I got upgraded brake pads, and I went ahead and I'm going to be changing out the actual calipers themselves. Alright guys, so here's the parts that I'm going to be using today. I've got the Power Stop Extreme Severe Duty Truck and Tow brake pads. I've got the Power Stop drilled and slotted rotors. And then I've got the caliper, the brake caliper. And sure enough, I just pulled this wheel off and looked in here, and look at that right there. I've got a cracked rotor. So heat had gotten so much on this rotor that it literally just cracked the rotor. Hopefully you can see that right there. So obviously I've got some major gouging. There's quite a bit of lip right there on this rotor. I've got a little bit of lip down there. Brake pads are wore down, and you can just tell, I mean, especially right there. I don't know if you guys can see that in the light, but man, there's a ton of scoring right there. And then to go right off the bat and see a huge crack right on the outside of that rotor, there's been some pretty significant heat on this front driver's side. So I was getting very weak braking. I was getting pulling, I was getting throbbing, I was, all that stuff that you get when you have bad brakes. And man, I just can't believe it built up that much heat and just cracked that entire rotor all the way through. So it's almost to the point where it's dangerous. So I caught it right at the right time, and obviously this caliper is no bueno, and it's going to go in the trash. And I got a brand new AC Delco unit that's going to go on. I am going to obviously have to bleed the brakes, because I'm going to have to actually separate the brake line system from each one of the calipers, but no big deal. I can bleed that out, and man, with the new performance rotors, slotted, drilled, and with the brake pads themselves, the Extreme Power Stop Extremes for towing, this thing should stop on a dime. So here we go. Guys, one of the things I also like to do, obviously when you have a component off of your vehicle, it just gives you an opportunity to kind of look at things and inspect things. So with the tire off, I'm going to be looking at things like bushings, upper A-arm, lower control arm, bushings, and looking at them. They all look in pretty good shape. That's pretty yeah, they're not too bad. I mean, you can tell they're old. They've got some weather cracking and so forth, but overall they're holding up pretty well. I don't see anything that's just concerning me too much down here. CV boots look really good and dry. Every bushing looks dry. Yeah, I think it looks pretty good. So again, just a nice tip to whenever you have anything off, go ahead and inspect them. And in fact, several of these components have areas where you can inject grease, like right there at the top of that upper control arm. And it's not a bad idea to go ahead and get that done while you have some of these components off. All right, so this process of getting things kind of taken apart is pretty straightforward. There's basically two bolts that are holding on the caliper to the actual rotor. It's this one right here, and there's another one down here below, right in there. Also, I had to loosen up, hopefully I can get my camera in there so you can see, I had to loosen up the brake line, which is right there, the brake line inlet. And so once you do that, make sure you've got something underneath to kind of catch the fluid that comes out. Look how black that fluid is. Pretty dirty stuff, so it's probably good that I'm changing this out anyways, and I'll flush that system with fresh stuff. But basically you got two bolts, one there, one there. You're going to need a hex 3/8 for your socket to be able to get those off, and that's really it. Those two bolts and the brake line, and you're good to go. Alright, so with the caliper off now, this caliper sat right there basically. It's down on the ground now. In looking at the pads, they're actually in pretty good shape. So somebody did a brake job on this fairly recently. But obviously the piston in the caliper, it's just a single piston caliper. Obviously it started having some failures. I don't see leakage around it, but obviously just some failures. And then of course, you know, I showed you that crack earlier. You can see a little bit better now. A lot of scoring on the actual rotor itself. It's real rusted. Okay, so getting this rotor off, you basically have to take off what I call the hub. I don't know if that's necessarily the case, but you see that bolt down deep inside there? You've got this spacer that's on the actual rotor itself to hold the wheel, and then you've got that center bolt right there that holds on the actual rotor to the bearing package and so forth, into the axle and all that good stuff. So I could just take that off there and take this whole assembly off together, but as you can tell, I've got to get this spacer off of that rotor anyways, and it makes it a little bit easier just to do it while it's on the vehicle. So now that I've got the tire off and the caliper off, you can tell this thing just spins freely. There's nothing holding it to the you know, static. So you've got to create a static. And in this case, I see these little grooves right here on the top of your rotor. What you can do is simply just stick a screwdriver down on each side of this little tab, and it holds the rotor in place, so you can actually put some torque to it, because you're going to have to torque these nuts off right here. And what I've got is, what did I do with it? Oh, here it is. I just got a breaker bar, and in this case, that is the 13/16. So I just got this breaker bar, something that's kind of short, that'll fit in there. It's got a little bit of a knuckle on it, so I can get it in there and start cranking on this. But obviously I'm going to have to be able to hold that whole piece still and be able to get some torque on that, so that little screwdriver trick will work on there. Alright guys, so till next time, thanks for watching this episode 1 of changing out the brake calipers and rotors and pads on a K3500 diesel. Obviously not going to get to the graphics today, so I've got the graphics. You're going to have to hold on until next time to get the results of that. And because essentially I'm out of time, and Mom was calling and she says it's time to mow the lawn, so you know how that goes. So guys, thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing. As always, I appreciate all the support and comments. I think this channel's really turning into something pretty cool, at least for me to do. I don't know if it's cool for you. We're almost to 500 subscribers. That's pretty cool in my opinion, and we've got a lot of views going on out there, so continue to add projects and projects and projects. to the list, to the video list. But by far, Project Old Bones is my most clicked on project. Amazing to me that an old $4,000 Chevy diesel dually, you know, with the 6.5, which is definitely the most made fun of engine out there, it seems like, when it comes to diesel engines, is my most popular video. It's, you know, it's amazing. So I think that's pretty cool, and I appreciate all you guys out there sticking with the Chevy 6.5. Yeah, guys, it's not the best engine in the world, but it gets the job done, and I don't know, I kind of like it. It's easy to work on, and it's good enough for me. Now, there's guys out there that are going to always be a Cummins guy, or a Power Stroke guy, or, you know, Duramax guy. Again, hey, what floats your boat, man? I don't care. That's up to you. But I'm a 6.5 guy. Although I think I'm wearing a 5.9 hat. I don't know if that's legal. Sorry, baby, I'm not cheating on you. But I am a 5.9 Cummins kind of, you know, the old style 5.9. I do like those. Don't get me wrong. But a good 6.5 will get the job done. And Old Bones has really been a good truck to me, and will continue to be a good truck, especially one that I can learn on, and I can learn on. Quickly, efficiently. If I break something, or if I go in the wrong direction, you know, it's not 20 grand in the hole. You know, I've got maybe 5,500 bucks into this truck, 57, 58 maybe, counting the new brake kit and things like that. So overall, it's a, you know, it's a good little project to learn on. So guys, thanks again for stay tuned for the next video, and thanks for subscribing. I got a new website, epiccars.net. Go check that out. I'll try to put some blog information on that. And yes, I do have a Epic Cars t-shirt that I'm wearing today. I just tried it out. I'm going to see if I can maybe get a better quality to start selling on the channel. But, you know, wait and see how that link goes below. But guys, appreciate it. God bless. Take care.